Welcome to today's short for the collective reading. I am adding this introduction after finishing the reading, as it ended up being a Crossroads reading with two readings for two possible pathways that were covered. I strongly suggest that you listen to all of what is present, as both seem to kind of bleed over into one another and reinforce one another. You will likely find some clarification and answers for each possible path that you could choose by reading the other or listening to the other path as well. It was a very beautiful reading, and I do hope that you find clarification, some peace, and some affirmation of your own discernment throughout the reading. Thank you very much for listening to today's collective reading. Namaste. Welcome to today's collective reading. I've been getting quite a bit of Crossroads energy all morning, and as sensitive individuals, which I'm pretty confident most of those in the collective that are watching these throughout, the time as their timeless readings are sensitive individuals, and typically, you're very confident in what your intuition provides you. But when you're at a crossroads, it's very important, whether it's your spiritual path, your career, your love life, your family, whatever crossroads you may be at. If you're seeking guidance, it's because you are either not necessarily trusting what you're coming to in conclusion, because you are having anxiety about it and it's clouding your ability to discern because this is so close to you. Or you feel biased that you may be swaying in one direction. And you want to make sure that, getting an outside perspective, an outside discernment perspective can sometimes reaffirm what your intuition is already telling you and help you gain that confidence in your own discernment. So, for this crossroads, I'm going to be using a couple of different decks than I normally do, but yeah, I think I'm actually going to do that. So this deck is a little more centered around Celtic mythology and really around receptive energy. It's very much around that receptive aspect. And it speaks of the journey that you will be on from the beginning to the end, that when you start this journey, you start it with, your spirit guides, your helpers, you move through certain terrain. It's a specific kind of journey that you are on. And then it kind of caps it off with, this is where you end up putting down your roots. The name of this deck in particular is the Rooted Woman Oracle Guidebook. So it's very muchly about being receptive. So this is a newer deck for me. So I just feel like it's really what's needed with this crossroads energy today. So I'll do two different options for this, and I'll read them in tandem. So for the first option, the one that, you're really excited about, you're possibly feeling is a little bit more of a leap of faith, we're going to do journey card for this. And okay. And then for the second option, the challenge, the journey on that path. And then we'll have spirit guides and helpers as well. Just kind of like they're giving special support for the particular path that you're choosing. To look at it is not just this is this goddess or this Celtic lore aspect. It's the energies, the archetype. To look at it from like the full scope of it. Okay. And then the type of terrain that you'll be covering and what that can kind of tell you about your journey, what you're meant to learn, overcome the challenges. And then I'll put some tarot as well as support. Okay. Beautiful. I may be kind of referencing the guidebook here and there. As I said, it's a bit of a newer deck for me. Okay. So as a collective, as you come to this crossroads, I'll pull some tarot to kind of clarify a bit of the energies present that you'll be bringing with you on this journey. No matter which path you end up taking. So to begin your journey, you start out, it's early morning, you have your spirit guides, your helpers. You have an idea of where you're going, what your goal is, how long it'll take you to get there, some of the challenges along the way. The first clarifier I have is the Ten of Swords, and there's just such a strong, heavy presence of emotion that is driving you. And you know where the surface of the water is. But there's this curious need to understand what brought you to this point. You wanted to understand the depth of what is bringing about this ending, new beginning. One more clarifier, please, for the collective. Divine, Trinity, Gaia, guides. They're very picky about which card will come out here for you. It's very, very important that you get the right message as you begin your journey. There we go. All right, and then we have the Five of Wands, which is interesting because in the imagery, this very, it's very similar. So you're no longer in this state of deep emotion and curiosity of what brings you here. You're seeking to know, to understand, to have what brought this ending be something that you understand. You've mastered. It's in doing this, it becomes something that's not as intimidating, as scary, as powerful as you once thought. it instead becomes the seed or the beginning of the next chapter in your life. It's a mastering, in a way, of one difficulty level, if you will. Okay, that's cool. That's awesome. It's very empowering. Okay. So for the first path that you could take, the journey you'll be on will be a quest. And there's this sense of just rapid need to get from point A to point B as quickly as possible. That the focus, like you didn't even saddle your horse. You're gone. You're bareback and you're booking it across the desert, really, with a mountain in the background. So you're firm in what you're focused on. There's no question of where you're wanting to go. The figure in this particular image is clad in a deep blue, almost indigo, so it's speaking what you intuitively know to be true is what will aid you in your quest. It's very integral to speeding you through this process. Okay, they're not wanting to give me some clarifiers, so what I'm going to do is see if there's something in the guidebook that they want specifically mentioned. Okay, so it's saying that you have a very firm idea of where you're going, but it's not necessarily that you have detailed every little aspect of it. You've left an opening for the divine to fill in the blank, for you to learn what you don't know, for the divine and Gaia and your spirit guides to allow you to organically learn about yourself, about your journey, about your soul, about your mission, but you know where you want to go. And you're willing to learn those lessons. And it asks you to be certain that this end goal really is what you want. Are you sure this is truly what you want? And to be honest with yourself about this. To state a reason. And not just any reason. Not your initial knee-jerk reason that immediately comes to mind. What is the deep, true meaning? The incredibly emotional depth meaning. As, represented with the beginning of this journey with that very emotional ending of the Ten of Swords that signifies the beginning, and you recognize that it's not necessarily as scary or as daunting as you originally thought. Is the goal is to have it be something that is attained, that you understand and know, instead of being so totally completely mystified by correction. Could I please have some clarifiers for the quest card for the first path that one could choose at this crossroads? Okay, we have the Four of Swords. Yet again, in an emotional state, kind of hugged by Mother Nature, spending some time within yourself, within your roots, within contemplation. There's a sense also of some kind of a commitment, a celebration and a commitment, but you are alone in this picture, in this image. And you're blending in with nature, in with the water. There is some illumination. So you are deep in contemplation about what is solid, what is stable, yet what is intuitive and emotional. what is actually present for you within this dynamic or this aspect that you're on this quest for, that drives you. Healing. And yet again, there's a blue garment on this individual. So it's about speaking the truth, particularly within yourself in this clarifier. It's not just about intuition. It's about speaking your truth, being honest with yourself. Please have one more clarifier for the quest card. Right. And the Fool card. This beautiful white wolf in this imagery here. It's your divine compass. It's you know what love is. You know what is true. You know what drives you, what you seek. And as this white wolf is very focused in one particular location off in the distance. And you're surrounded by mountains in this space. This is kind of calling to the mountains in the background of the quest card. It's a stability in knowing your truth. Even if there is distraction or attempted energetic manipulation to lead you astray, you know what your truth is, and you follow that guiding compass. And the terrain does not look easy to navigate. There is an individual in this picture, and they're not necessarily as well suited for the terrain, but the wolf is perfectly at ease and comfortable in this space. Just beautiful. Okay. For the allies present with you on this journey, should you take this path, we have the Selkie or the soul skin. And lore has it that, this mermaid or merman would take their Selkie skin off and be human, be, of two legs for a while, walk on land and appear human. And if someone were to get a hold of that skin, that would allow them to go back to the emotional state of the depths of the water, then they could not return without that skin. And the folklore kind of speaks of it in a sense of a romantic thing, where the mermaid, then weds the man who holds the skin. Her ability to go back to the ocean is now held within the hands of the one that she marries. Now, this could be something that feels like you're being kept against your will to an extent, sure, but it doesn't have to be that way. It could be a choice to give this skin to this individual because you love them and you trust them, and it's a commitment. It's kind of like a ring, but it speaks to your ability to transform in between two different states of existing. And no matter where you are on this, there's going to be a yearning for the ocean or for the land. It's also an invitation to create a third path, a third option. It's not either I feel trapped on land or I feel trapped on sea and I'm yearning for the opposite. It could be why not create a new skin that allows me to exist within both and not have to yearn for either or, because I can be within either or. We, each of us, has the ability to co-create with divine. We are all sons and daughters of the divine. We all have that ability. We all have that spark in us. So why not create the ability to live within both worlds? Why not? Should it be, part of your path and divine's will and you desire so? Why not? I have 2 clarifiers, please, for the Selkie, for this path, for the ally, for the journey of quest on this path for the collective. Oof, that was kind of long. Okay. We have the Page of Cups. There's an invitation to almost be like a child at play, totally absorbed in like a new toy or a new project that you're just fascinated with, to lose yourself in what you're doing, what you're creating, to lose track of time, completely become just in the flow, in the moment. Similar to creating and creation of music or art. If you've ever experienced this, or someone who this is their zen, if you will, it is a state of flow. It's a state of channeling. To seek this is to also find a center of divine creation within the self. It's like being in union with divine creation, co-creating in that moment, having a conversation without words. There is a quote, I don't really remember who it was from or where I saw it, but it really resonated, that the divine is the voice with no sound. There's no vocals to it. You just know. All right, and then clarifying that is the Eight of Cups, the movement, the choice, the decision to move towards this new creation, to step out and take this chance and choose to co-create with divine the outcome, the conclusion, the stepping stones from point A to point B, regardless of what shadow energy, dark energy may come in and try to kind of sway you, fill you with doubt or fear. You know where you're going, and you know that you're not alone. You have divine with you. You can choose to not yearn for one world or the other, but be able to live within both. All right. And the terrain that you'll be kind of covering is stone circle. And there's a possum here on this. And a possum, it's seeing what's unseen. Something can seem to be one way, but really it's something else completely different, like how they play dead, but they're really not. And then they survive because the predator assumes they're dead and they can come back later and have a little snack. But when they come back, the opossum is long gone. Number 13 is also really important to them as well because of their young. They can have a litter with more than 13 babies, but they only have 13 teats in their pouch. They're a marsupial. They're the only one in North America, is my knowledge. But yeah, that number is not necessarily a bad luck number. It's worth looking into that if this is the path that you choose. All right. So this really, it emphasizes the need for routine, for cycles, for honoring, the cycles of nature, as well as, from waking to sleeping, circadian rhythms. Routine and how you go about your life. when you choose to share, when you choose not to share, when you are social, when you turn inward, when you choose to, have a habit. Oh man, there's so many different ways that one can create routine in their life. However you should choose to create routine, it's an invitation to treat your body as like your soulmate, as your temple, as, they say like as above, so below. Well, your physical form and the energy level, the health, the balance within your physical form will be reflected in the energy that you are capable of sharing, that is within your aura, within your vibe. It'll affect what energies can come in that you could be receptive to. As you ascend, it assists in your ascension, in your vibration, ascending in vibration. So to really look inward and understand what your body is asking you for, what it needs, what it longs for, what it desires. And do what you can to bring about that balance, to answer that need, to care for yourself. There was something else that I read earlier about how, different traditions, in spiritual paths, they relate to the human form, the body, in different ways. Some see it as, like a burden. Some see it as sinful. Some see it as something that doesn't need care, that it's just, the form within which their soul currently resides, and thus is not them, thus does not receive the pampering and care that would benefit the health of the form, thus the soul within. That to be on a journey such as this, to instead choose to see the human form, the body, as a place of mystery, a place of wonder, a place of empowerment and healing, as it's always working to heal you. And it's utterly devoted to that. And that requires a sense of gratitude, a reciprocated energy. And through honoring the routines that your body is asking for, honoring the needs that it's calling for. If you're tired, sleep. If you're hungry, eat. That very basic things, such as this. Then you are returning that energetic contribution to your health back with more fuel to do so. In other words, creating more and more balance, and the ability then for you to ascend and hold more and more energy within your form, to channel more and more energy within your form. So this leads to a situation where you're going to end up being called to do that, to channel more and more higher level energy. And a very unique card just came out clarifying this, which really emphasized what I just said. It speaks to being able to see, reinforce, channel pure love, divine love, to create the environments, the questions in others, to seek these answers, and create the environment within them for divine love to grow by free will, by choice. It's almost once you encounter something that is so pure and so beautiful, once you've experienced it, especially as a highly sensitive individual, or an empath, or a psychic, or a medium, however you choose to identify how you energetically relate with your reality. Once you encounter something like that, you can't help but seek it, but want it, but desire it. And thus you end up in a co-creative state with divine, pulling that towards you. So all we ever want truly is to be happy. And this is something that will be learned and reinforced and be a part of this journey, choosing this particular path at the crossroads before you. And that's beautiful. What a beautiful gift. And many are capable of this, I believe, because it gains momentum. The more people that witness love, desire love. And then all of them call in love. And then more people witness love and desire love. And it just goes from there. And of course, to know that it's okay, even though, you maybe, have the blueprint, if you will, for, manufacturing a specific tool or the process down or, whatnot, that it's okay to know at certain times, depending on the demand and the need for what is present, to allow others to assist you, to share this knowledge and allow them to share this knowledge, because the need could be at some point one where you can't personally handle each and every single creation or, repair of a specific item or, so on and so forth. It could be something as tactile as that, or as air and water, so like mental and emotional and energetic based, as the concept of what is love and how many different ways does it manifest and how do you hold it within your form and create an environment for it to remain balanced. And, it could be something from tactile to abstract. And it's okay to allow others to assist in this process, to receive support. So this is the first journey, or the first path that you could choose. If you identify with the quest option of just really being focused on one goal, no matter what can try to distract you, yeah. So for another option, or the other option that's coming through, is the reclaiming of the feminine. So reclaiming receptive aspects, community, connection with intuition, being receptive to others' feelings, thoughts, emotions, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's kind of like the Buddhist mudra. I think they call it Karana, where it was kind of paraphrased for me once. I was listening to some speech about it, and I just kind of made me chuckle because it was so kind of sassy and modernized. But it was like, give love but take no shit, I think what it was. So it's being receptive to giving and receiving of love and compassion and acceptance, but not allowing yourself to be taken advantage of, not allowing foolishness or tricksters or malicious energy to come past a certain boundary that you set. And it doesn't necessarily even mean that you're not being kind and receptive and caring and compassionate with the energy that has come up to that boundary or even tried to cross. It just means that energy doesn't get to cross, because you're in complete control over whether or not that is allowed. It is your space. It is your energy. So to be receptive to being in this state of balance really open one up to being receptive in so many other areas, because then to be receptive is not to be, for lack of better labeling, because they're very triggering words, weak, easy to manipulate, vulnerable, naive. It's not that then, because you do not allow it to pass a certain point. You can be open and kind and caring and loving without being easy to take advantage of. Now, just to make sure that every point is coming across, that this card came out to make sure that it's really being spoken to. Yes, because it speaks to the dark feminine. So like that boundary, being able to reinforce that, is loving of self and is respectful and loving of the individual or energy that is seeking to cross this boundary that you've set. You're actually demonstrating, you're teaching by example, that you're not rejecting the being, the energy as a whole. So it's not black and white. In other words, it's not all in or not at all in at all. It's not all or nothing. You're demonstrating that you can be strong, yet nurturing and caring and kind. And two, definitely what's highlighted there, that, the teaching moment, but also this is the same individual that could be choosing the first path. So this person has the ability as well to demonstrate what love is, to show and act and be an authentic and genuinely present within that. And setting this boundary while being open and caring and kind, yet you cannot cross this boundary, is a way of showing self-love that can become something that, others witnessing this would desire and want to understand. And that becomes something that has a momentum to it. It's a desire to have that level of self-love and understand what it is. Co-creates that with divine within them, and it cascades from there. Can I have 2 clarifiers, please, for this card? For the journey here of just really finding that inner balance. Yet remaining in a state of receptivity. So it's understanding all of your inner kingdom and how you affect the world. I speak to this more in my teachings, my courses that I have down in the link below, through my teacher courses there with Insight Timer. So you're working with that subconscious. You're understanding all of what is within you and developing a relationship with that, so that you're no longer leading life from being bounced around by the stimuli coming into your environment. You can feel those reactions, feel yourself being triggered, or be aware of the thoughts, because you know all of yourself. And your ego is not sitting on your throne anymore. Your conscious self, is ruling all of your kingdom. You consciously are navigating your life. So you're taking in all of the information, and then you make a decision. You don't just react. You take that all in, and then you make a decision, and you bring this ability to set that boundary with all the information that's being triggered and all the thoughts and all of that. You set the boundary of, I'm not going to react. I'm going to observe. And then I'm going to make a decision based upon that observation with input from, my higher self, my conscious self, my inner child. And then in this instance, your ego actually becomes your ally. And you bring this out into the world. You move consciously in co-creation into the world. And I feel called to say this phrase, that in this state, then the world literally becomes your oyster. You can manifest and be who and whatever you desire to be, with this balance of setting the boundary but being receptive. Okay, so in your allies, should you choose this path, you have the old crane woman. She's really interesting because it almost looks like a white buffalo / crane creature in a green kind of swampy space. And underneath that, it's a guardian of the threshold. So you're contemplating, you're taking that pause before you make the decision of which path to cross into. And being in this space is where you're really interacting with this particular ally the most. So I'm going to read a little bit from the guidebook here. Cranes are associated with old women in Celtic mythology. They guard the treasures of the otherworld and the entrances to the otherworldly abodes. Like the heron, the crane's ability to move between water, land, and air makes her a symbol of shape-shifting and magic. She's a powerful and liminal bird who acts as a guide to those who wish to travel through the borderlands. In the course of any journey, we'll arrive at one or more thresholds which separate one place, one world, from another. They are transition points in new ways of being. And all such thresholds have their guardians who ensure that those who approach are equipped for the crossing. The guardian of the threshold isn't necessarily a menacing monster who might bite off your head, but she's not to be messed with either. Her judgment is final. You're either ready for this new adventure or you're not. So she's protective of you. So should you come to this threshold again, should you not be deemed ready at this point, she's protecting that so that you can come when you are ready. She's somewhat of a contradiction. She has the wildness of a bird, but the steadiness of a wise old woman. Her decision about your suitability for the challenges ahead will depend upon how you approach her, and chances are she'll have a test for you, a question, or a riddle to solve. Kind of reminds me of there's the Sphinx. Yeah, the Sphinx in Egyptian lore, having a riddle. She isn't necessarily your adversary. If you're ready for the crossing, she's the one who will show you the way. If you ask her nicely and are sure to pay your respects, she is your soul guide. In this card, she invites you to step forward to answer her questions about your readiness for the journey ahead, and to reveal to her the essence of who you are, thus challenging you to assert, are you ready? And who are you? What makes you ready? And why are you suited to cross this threshold at this point? And you're not necessarily going to have a perfect answer. You're not. And that's why she's your guide at this point, why she would be helping you should she decide that you are ready. It's, are you ready to learn the lessons necessary to answer these questions in their full entirety? Do you know enough of this at this point to be able to learn more of it? I have 2 clarifiers for this. Oh, look at that. Okay. All right. That's interesting. So it's a, are you ready for the challenges ahead because they're going to be harder than the ones you've already experienced? But because you've already experienced these lessons and you've mastered these lessons, the challenges coming before you are going to seem of a similar difficulty because you've already mastered what's come before. If you were to try to tackle the challenges on the other side of the threshold without understanding how to differentiate between, malicious energy versus divine love and light energy, to the extent that you have so far, you may feel like it's completely overwhelming, just like the beginning of the journey, the 10 of Swords, needing to understand this. What brought you to this ending so that you can turn it from an ending into a new beginning with the 5 of Wands. That it becomes an ending and turns into something small, trivial, right? The mastering of the current level of difficulty, of challenge. Can I have one more clarifier, please, for this card? Boop, boop. Ooh, 7 of Pentacles. Okay. So with this particular card, you have the whole world before you, just as, it came across in the journey card of reclaiming the feminine, reclaiming and owning the power of the receptive energies within you, and that's not necessarily something that is weak, right? It's very strong to have that. Oh, sorry about that. To have that boundary, yet remain open. So you have the world before you. The world is your oyster. You can create anything on the other side of this threshold. It's just waiting for you. The seeds that you have planted on your journey leading up to this threshold, they have been blooming and growing and manifesting. You just maybe haven't seen them yet because you're at the threshold. You need to be able to be confident that you can pass this threshold and know that you can handle what's to come. That you've mastered what created the 10 of Swords so that it actually becomes a 5 of Wands instead of a 10 of Swords. So you can move into this new threshold, this new world, and enjoy those seeds that have been blooming and growing. It's harvest time. Okay. For the terrain that you would be covering and crossing and traversing through on this particular path, which, this whole thing could be all blended into one. Use your own, intuitive discernment. This could be something that is a bit of both. For the terrain, we have the well, the source of life. It's just so green and abundant, and there's a couple of different, butterflies speaking to a new beginning. So there's the link yet again to the other world, and with the consistent coloring in the cards between your spirit ally with the old crane woman moving into the terrain of the well, this suggests to me that you've passed. You're ready. You're ready. You've cultivated that spiritual wisdom. And if you neglect your well, which is in the same position as the stone circle for the terrain, so if you neglect the routines of your physical form, creating that foundation of health within your life so that your body can become more balanced and strong and capable of channeling higher and higher vibrations through it, more and more energy through it, and be nourished by it instead of overwhelmed, the well within you, the source of life, will continue to prosper. So to live in a spirit of reciprocity. There we are. There's that. So what nurtures you, nurture in kind. So if Mother Earth nurtures you, seek ways to give back, to help Mother Earth have what she needs to rebalance. And work that into, from within yourself, and move it outwards. And then outwards move in. Where gratitude and abundance is provided, give gratitude and abundance in kind to reciprocate. And your well of life will be abundant. We have the Ten of Cups. It's perfect for that placement. So it's a full emotional experience, positive, full emotional experience. It's not just about a relationship with one individual being epically romantic and, Shakespearean almost. It's not just about that. Like, it will have that. Yes. Because you'll attract to you what, something of similar vibration. As your vibration elevates, you'll attract a similar vibration to you. It's about community. It's about family. It's about friendships. It's about working alliances. And it's part of why it's so important for you to take care of the self, of the physical form, because that's, for some of us, we've been in hermit mode for quite some time, doing all of the ascending that we needed to while we were in isolation, because let's face it, some of these things that we've gone through in hermit mode could only be learned in hermit mode. So now it's time to be able to provide the foundation for such an influx of energy, high vibrational energy moving through your form. Keep that well alive, balanced, and healthy. I have one more clarifier for the well of the source of life, please. All right, I'll do a little shuffle there. That'll help. It's probably a specific card that they're looking for here. And by they, I mean like the divine, Gaia, and the spirit guides of all those who are watching, as well as their interaction with my specific spirit guide team. One more card, please, to clarify. All right, Knight of Wands. This really, to me, it's single-minded focus almost, in the focus on maintaining this stability of taking care of the physical form, nurturing the self so that this well is healthy, strong, and vibrant. It's a very solar plexus chakra, just lit up, personal power. Your will is to create this, and you have a very strong force behind this individual in this image. It's the lion, and you're in a desert. And it speaks to me almost of like Dune, almost, really. Just that single-minded focus, the will to survive, this is what must be done. And whatever obstacles before you, you know the only way that you're going to be able to consistently overcome and thrive and enjoy and celebrate and thrive and just really be able to be that inspiring presence for others to desire more light and love in their life is to be single-mindedly focused on maintaining routine and balance in your physical form, in your life, to not compromise on certain things. Every now and then, maybe kind of go to bed 30 minutes later, maybe, but not every night. Not every night, it's like you got to live a little, but always come back to taking care of the body, always come back to taking care of those routines. And initially, it may be tiring and exhausting as your body adjusts, but it will begin to really pay off. You will feel a huge difference. And you'll know when you're knocked off your routine, you will feel a noticeable difference. So to be single-mindedly focused on that, to not be willing to compromise beyond set parameters is what's going to serve you very well in the path before you. So at the crossroads here, you can choose to champion one aspect of your journey, or you can choose to see it all as part of the same thing. It's a whole picture. It's the whole picture. Now, to do the 2 clarifiers for the end result. We did 2 to start with, which was the beginning of this journey, of what started you on this process and where you want to go, which was clarified with the 10 of Swords being transformed into the 5 of Wands, an ending that's turned into, this is something that I can learn from and overcome. So after all of this beautiful message presented and all of these lessons and these awarenesses of where we are and divine guidance, where is it that we seek to be firmly rooted? Where is the end result, if you will, of where we lay our head at the end of the day? What always comes with us? And no matter where we are, what we're doing, we know that it is home. Where is this? I have 2 clarifiers, please. Ooh. Being very picky about the cards, and that's good, that's ideal. You want a very clear and concise message. Come here for clarity, right? Affirmation of the intuitive knowings you already have. Okay, we got 1. Ability to channel, to make that strong, energetic offer and contribution. can only be achieved through balance of physical form and the spiritual form as well. One more card, please. I have a feeling this is going to be beautiful. It'll speak to your hearts. It's resonating with mine, I know. For sure. Oh, we got it. That was too many. All right. Beautiful. Okay, this particular card speaks of transformation, of completely rebuilding, rebirthing yourself. Every atom, every DNA strand, every neutron and proton, and just everything that used to hold you back, every hurt, every trauma, every heavy energy, every scar being rebirthed, like you're the phoenix. You've completely burned to ash and been reborn. It doesn't mean that you yourself change. Who you are, your name, where you come from, your history, what makes you uniquely you does not change. You just become more. You shed what has restricted you from fully shining. It just falls away. This is where you seek to be free and capable of sharing that pure energy, that pure love and light energy, being able to contribute that gift to the world, to those around you, to assist others in finding freedom from what restricts them and holds them back. Assist others in finding freedom. I hope that the collective watching today, that you guys found some guidance, some peace, some clarification and affirmation of your own intuition. You are on the right path. Where you are in it, that's for you to say. But where you're going, it's worth it. It's completely worth it. It's beautiful. Thank you very much for listening to this reading. I am incredibly grateful to you. And I am very inspired to know that there is a complete collective of others out there on this path. It's beautiful. Thank you. Namaste.